And we are live, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I need to stop doing that. That's so lame. Welcome to Scream Boy Podcast, episode number 4. Four. So we're playing some new stuff. We want to do some live. We want to do some live episodes and things like that. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, we appreciate you, which probably no one is.
Yeah, we just went live.
Yeah, we just went live, and you don't count. I'm kidding. I love you.
Where's the cricket?
Who's counting? Okay. So anyway, we have completely lost control of the show, and I don't know where I'm going.
Not even a minute in.
Not even in a minute in. So we're playing with some stuff. We're on Google Hangouts. We're broadcasting live on YouTube, and we're going to have a lot of fun with this. So please bear with us because we broadcasted live on YouTube 2 weeks ago before I went on vacation, and it went really well. But now we're playing around with cameras and banners and cricket noises and all kinds of stuff. A little bit ago, Adam had a beard, a cupcake, a birthday cake, I should say, an eye patch, and something else on his face, and he really doesn't have those things with him. He was playing with the effects.
That's what you think. That's what you think. It's all real.
Well, I'm scared. That laugh belongs to none other than Jesse Starcher. Jesse, hello. How you doing tonight?
Gentlemen, how are you guys doing? I'm ready to rock and roll. Soul Patrol.
And we have also with us, staring off into oblivion, the Stephen Marsh.
I honestly think his camera froze.
I honestly think his whole thing froze.
I'm here.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
Sorry, there was something. This is very important.
That's hilarious.
Staring off into oblivion, Stephen Marsh. Good, Stephen Marsh has joined us, and tonight we're already having fun. But tonight we want to talk about several things because we're going to have another gentleman, another correspondent join us tonight. That's going to be Josh Calandros. He is, pardon me, in my emphysema or something, whatever's going on in my body. That's not something I should joke about. I've got the plague. Josh is actually doing some research. And when I say research, he is totally geeking out about the first college football game, televised college football game that I think is what he said. Forgive me because I don't know my schedules right now, but he's watching college football because he is our college football correspondent and one of our comic book correspondents, and he's our music correspondent. He knows a lot about all of those things. So Jesse, of course, is our comic book correspondent. He has his show, Source Material, on the Radulich Broadcasting Network. And Stephen Marsh, what are you?
He's a contributor.
I'm a guest.
Ooh, that's a good word.
In my own home.
Contributor.
He is a contributor. I just found a remote in my lap. He is a contributor. He is a good friend, and he is an amazing man. And tonight we are going to talk about Pokemon Go. But before we get into that, because all four of us, Adam has recently rekindled the flame of his fandom, of his nerddom, into professional wrestling. And all three of the rest of us are big professional wrestling fans. And in fact, we are Jesse, Stephen, and I are going to remix pro wrestling in Marietta, Ohio, on October the 1st, where we will see Marion Fontaine, the team of Marion Fontaine, and is he going by Sandow now? Damien Sandow.
Sandow's what he's like on there, but it's in Rex. And
what's the Miz Mizdow thing that he's been doing? I saw that on one of his things.
Well, he was the Miz's stunt double for a long time, and it was absolutely brilliant. It was a failure. It was like a sign. They signed a failure sheet and gave it to him, and he made it work. And he the Miz's stunt double, and it was just hysterical. It was amazing. But we're going to see Marion Fontaine and Damien Sandow versus the Mega Plowers, Jock Sampson and Magnum CK Chris Kahn. So, and there's a ton of other, the Headless Horsemen, the Anti-Heroes, Chance Prophet. It's going to be an amazing show. So we're going to be there for that. So if you're anywhere in the area around Marietta, Ohio, please get your tickets now. I think they're only $15 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I think it's only general admission left.
It is. They sold out.
General admission.
Mm-hmm. They sold out. They sold out front row, second row, third row, and it's just GA from here on out. $15.
General admission, $15. Still worth the price of general admission. It's going to be an amazing show. It's going to be a lot of fun. But recently on Talking Smack, which is SmackDown's live show after SmackDown on the network, on WWE Network or whatever that is, we just recently saw The Miz absolutely break down on Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan told The Miz that he had a soft wrestling style, that he wrestled like a coward, and then if he were still creating a person that wrestled like that, that had the soft, quote-unquote, soft WWE style, that The Miz would be that person that he would create. And The Miz flipped his crap and called him a coward because he had, he had to retire because of injury, and he'd been injured several times before that. And, always been out, 6 months to a year or whatever. So he flipped his junk all over Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan got up, just...
Wait a second now.
Wait a second. I need to rephrase that. He flipped his crap all over Daniel Bryan. He wigged out on him. Daniel Bryan got up and left the set of the show, and The Miz cut one of the most amazing promos I've ever heard. But here's where I'm going with that. Yeah. Here's where I'm going with that. And I'm going to ask each of you, and we'll start with Adam, and then we'll go to Jesse, then we'll go to Steven. Work or shoot, real or fake?
I've been watching. I've probably watched it 100 times. I can't figure it out. I think it's real. I honestly gotta think that it's real because you can see it. You know what I mean? You can see it in his eyes. I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's like anybody who watches wrestling, if you get into it, you can really feel what's going on. And I honestly feel like The Miz was ticked. I feel like he was completely just over the top upset, and and the thing that does it for me is Daniel Bryan's reaction, where he flings the microphone down and just walks off. You can sometimes tell if it's fake, but I think it might be real. But then again, if I watch it again, I'm like, oh no, it's fake. But right now, I feel like it's real.
Okay. Yeah, Jesse, go for it.
Okay. The magic of pro wrestling is that ability to draw off of what many believe and sometimes factually is true. And then they turn around and put it into a work. Okay. Now, my assumption is this is clearly a work. And the reason being is that even though he is saying a lot of things that are probably true and from the heart, and you talk to any of the great talkers out there, read any of the books, such as Stone Cold Steve Austin or Ric Flair, something like that, you're going to see that these guys draw off of real events that have happened in their lives to give them the fire to, just let loose a verbal tirade. And that's what Miz did, I think, here. He was pushing buttons, using, the stuff that you've been seeing that has occurred in this guy's life in the past. Daniel Bryan, with that unfortunate retirement that he had to go through and the injury and all that, it's, everybody knew about that because Daniel Bryan was on fire and then all of a sudden he's gone. So everybody knew about that. And Miz did a great job of using all that hope and all that dismay that we had, everybody had pin up, and when Daniel Bryan's career almost practically ended. Now I just saw. Well, I'll tell you what. That's going to be my opinion. I'll get into this later because I don't want to hop into anything you might be talking about. But
this was just off the cuff, real quick, because I wanted to talk about it because it just happened Tuesday night, and yes, I thought this would be a good chance just for us to talk it out a little bit because part of our pop culture, part of our nerddom is professional wrestling. Because other than Josh Calandros, I think every one of us at the Screaming Boy podcast, the family, we all watch wrestling. So
we must ask Josh Calandros about Baron Von Turd. That is one wrestler we'll have to ask him about when he gets on here. However, but yeah, I personally believe it's a work because I don't think stuff like that would air without if it breaches that, if it crosses that line, I'm pretty certain that SmackDown's taped. I don't think it's live.
No, SmackDown is live now.
It is.
It's
Okay.
live now.
SmackDown, it is.
All right. So, I mean, there's that little bit of legitimacy, but when you look at Miz's face, I mean, wow. Is that guy...
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
the dude had tears in his eyes, I swear, at the end of that, because there was that much emotion running through his body. Marsh, I respect your opinion on things such as these because
I do too.
Myself, I've gotten away from where I used to watch wrestling every Monday. Oh man, it was every Monday, had my buddies over, and I've kind of gotten away from watching it. So Stephen Marsh, when you were talking wrestling, I like to listen. So what's your opinion?
I'm in the same boat. I have a job that likes to schedule me on Mondays and Tuesdays, so I don't get to catch recent stuff. I try to catch pay-per-view, but watching it, I think it, for the most part, was real because there's a part, which if or not, where he's telling Daniel Bryan that he doesn't love the fans, the Miz does, even though he's trying to do a heel thing in the moment. So I think there's it's both elements. But he brings up the point where he loves the fans more than Daniel Bryan because he's been there for 10 years busting his butt to get where he is, and he's the greatest Intercontinental Champion ever now. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit more split with 60 being some of the stuff he said was mostly real, and then most of it just leading into something where Daniel is the GM now and is going to try to tear the Intercontinental title off of him the entire time.
I agree with you, Stephen. Now, we also have a friend of the show and professional wrestling fan in his own right, and intelligent man, Dave Gillespie. That guy, Dave G Pie, at Dave G Pie, actually tweeted us and said it's a work/shoot. Started out a work, ended half and half, and I tend to agree because I think it started as a work, just like you said, Stephen, and then the intensity built up, the emotion built up. And it turned into more of a shoot because they were digging at each other. And, it may have been said, hey, call me a coward, or I'm going to call you a coward and see what happens. And that came out of it. And I really think there was some actual, actual animosity during the time. There may not be now, but I think there was some anger there. So I think it's a mixture of both and both. But I think what we can all agree on is work or shoot. This was the most intense and the most important promo that Miz has ever cut in his life. This is his chance to take that and ride that rocket that he is lit, that he has set off for himself, because this is his stone cold moment. Now, when I say that, we think back to CM Punk, who wore the Austin 316 shirt, sat down in the middle of the stage and dropped that first pipe bomb, and just let everything called out. Colt Cabana called all these guys out that were being released and everything. broke that fourth wall, talked about the brass ring, talked about the glass ceiling and all this other stuff. And where did we see him go from there?
Mm-hmm.
Straight up, and so I think this is, if he rides the momentum that he has given himself, if they allow him to ride that momentum and allow him to grasp this opportunity that has arisen, then he truly is going to be one of the greatest Intercontinental champions that they've had. It's going to be, I can't wait to see what he does next. I've always liked The Miz. When he first came in, I was one of those guys, he sucks just because everybody else doesn't like him. But as I watched him, and as I kind of got out of that frame of mind of watching wrestling and actually enjoying the craft of it, pardon me, and trying to get down to the, I don't want to say I'm a smart mark or anything like that, but there's different elements that I enjoy of it now than I used to. I don't just cheer for the bad guys. I cheer for the guys that I like and that are busting their butts, and that but if they allow him to take that opportunity and go with it, he's gonna see nothing but success with it. I really believe that.
I agree.
It is a matter of, just like you said, putting a promo out there and letting your true feelings show. That goes a lot in the way of impressing a lot of fans. So I don't know. It seems like there's too many elements of a work for me. When Punk did his thing, if we're comparing Punk's pipe bomb to Talking Smack or whatever this is called, first off, let me ask: has the Talking Smack segment been going on for a while? Is this the first time it's happened?
It's pretty new, isn't it?
It just started with the reboot. Yeah, it just started after SmackDown went live.
Okay. Yeah. Now, what a way to make it one of the, make it one of the premier segments of I wouldn't say struggling, but we've always known that SmackDown is the second show.
It's the inferior show.
Yeah. And they've done some impressive things on that show. You could go and find a list of some great matches, but it's just always felt like it was playing second fiddle to Raw.
Yeah.
This right here is putting it on the map, and that, again, I think that goes to my argument to support that it was more of a work, because they want to turn some heads.
Yeah, I said myself to piggyback off what you're saying is, like, I'm going to watch Talking Smack next week because I want to see if they're going to do something else. And then I was like, just kind of hit myself in the head and said, they did their job.
Yeah, that's right. They did what they were supposed to do. Exactly.
And so work or shoot, it doesn't matter. It was brilliant.
It's all brilliant. It's all about loving the entertainment that's coming your way, and if you liked it, that's their job is to get you to watch more.
At Dave G Pie says has a question for us. Does Daniel Bryan get cleared to wrestle at WrestleMania 33? Probably not. Probably not.
This is what I've heard. That was specifically what I saw right before we got on here. Was somebody who posted something about that?
He says, but probably not. So who picks up Daniel? 3 words: Honky Tonk Man.
Honky Tonk Man. Honky Tonk Man.
No, he's not going to wrestle.
Honky Tonk Man.
If anything, you just got to watch his shoot interviews and just go, who is this guy? But, I mean, that aside. So, it did its job. It made us want to tune in. It makes me want to tune in next week to see if anybody else is going to flip their lid and storm off set. But I thought it was an incredible piece of wrestling. I mean, because wrestling is not just in ring work. It's capturing that charisma and making the fans interested in it, and working over the fans and getting their attention, and they did their job with that. So, what I've liked to.
How long's Austin's thing been on there now?
His podcast?
Podcast?
Yeah, how long has Austin been on there? Like, it started right around WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Right?
You talking
like
about?
that.
Well, I didn't know. I know his podcast has been around for a while.
This is the part that.
Huh.
Well, I don't know. I don't listen. The part that shocks me is ever since he's been on the WWE network, after Raw, he asks every single person, even Dean Ambrose, specifically in this last one, he asked them all to turn it up to 11 to give us what the Miz did. So it's cool seeing that the Miz did it, but it's weird that we haven't seen it from anyone else, knowing that the rattlesnake sat right across from you face to face and asked you to do it, and everyone said that they've tried to do it, but they wouldn't let him. So I don't know why they wouldn't have let any of those people, but now it's the Miz that gets to do the thing. It's
because
just weird.
It's the one you least expect. It was literally the one that nobody respects. Because nobody that I know of really, I mean, we may say we like him, but he doesn't get any respect as far as his in-ring work goes, as far as who he is, because he came from Road Rules and all that. I read somewhere for some amount of time, JBL allegedly JBL or somebody or the guys in the back didn't let him use the locker room. That he had to go change in a bathroom stall.
Yeah.
No, wow.
Yeah, because he was Mike Mizanin from Road Rules or whatever, and so it's I don't know, but I really enjoy what he's doing. I mean, it got me thinking. It got me excited to see it again. All these new guys that they're calling up, even though poor Finn Balor, Prince Devitt or whatever you want to call him, won that awful fruit roll-up looking belt and then had to relinquish it the next night.
Oh, wait a second. Now, wait a second. We got what's the background color for the Raw title? Is it blue?
Red.
The Raw title's red.
Red.
Okay, and then SmackDown's is blue, right?
Blue. Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, what color lasers did Cobra have in the G.I. Joe cartoon?
Blue.
All right. Just wanted to clear that up.
Oh my goodness, that's good. That's good. So you got Daniel Bryan, which I'm glad he's still on TV. He's the SmackDown GM, along with Shane McMahon, and then you got good old Mick Foley, Holy Moly, Holy Moly Foley, GM and Raw with Stephanie McMahon. Steven, you sound a little disappointed in good old Mick Foley.
Wait, was it? Sorry, you cut out on my end. What'd you say?
You made a noise when I mentioned Foley.
Just the Holy Foley thing. I don't know. It's just I don't get it. And plus,
good. I like it.
The first episode was so anticlimactic, but it wasn't good anticlimactic to make me want to watch it again. It was just obviously she's going to wrestle. I know where the story's going. Yeah. I don't know. It's just not for me.
There's something about Mick Foley, and I like him, but he always looks like that mental patient who's just kind of wandering around. They let him out of his room for a few hours a day.
Then he's doing his job.
I mean, he's always, but I mean, he is so good. I love him.
So okay, so we've talked we talked a little bit too much about wrestling. Yeah,
we could keep going too, though.
Can I bring up one more thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know we didn't just. I just want to bring up one more thing. I haven't heard anyone else wrestling. I haven't heard. Now, everyone knew that Eva Marie was out, right?
Sure.
You got okay. So what? And she was out because the policy or whatever, the drug bad policy. So why would you give her one free publicity by doing her entrance when everyone in that crowd knew that she wasn't going to be there?
But isn't that her angle, though?
Why wouldn't you just say that somebody? It is, but the angle's gone when it's all over Twitter and Facebook and everywhere else. No. Everybody knows she's not going to be there.
No, you go along with the story. You don't go oh, we're scrapping that. I mean, look at this. You got a diva whose gimmick is coming out to the ring, but then not wrestling. So they do nothing but just continue with the gimmick. It's perfect for the situation she's in.
It's true.
Because you continue keeping her in the minds of the wrestling fans when she doesn't even have to be there. They could do this. I mean, she could retire from, not retire, but she could quit the company or get fired from the company, and they continue to do that entrance for another year.
It's true.
It wouldn't matter. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Marsh. Like, people, they're thinking we're stupid, and I don't like being treated like that. But when the entrance hit at WrestleMania, I was like, wait a second, what's going to happen here? So it had me cocking my head. But that's my thoughts on that, Marsh.
Good call. All right, so that was an impromptu about 25-minute talk or 20-minute talk on wrestling. So we're wrestling. So we're going to go to the actual topic of the show, and that is Pokemon Go. Wow, we went from nerdy to nerdier. So
tough to do in a podcast.
I love it. So Pokemon Go. This is there's no other word for it than a phenomenon. Pokemon Go is it's taking over. I mean, it's crazy to think that this game, and I don't know. Okay. This is my confession. I've never played the card game. I've never played any of the Game Boy games. I've never seen the cartoon. In fact, when Pokemon Go came out, everybody's like, you going to download it? You going to download it? Like, no. That's dumb. I don't want to play Pokemon. I've never played Pokemon. Why would I want to download it? And then I started hearing about it, and I started, reading a little bit about it, and I was like, that actually sounds pretty fun. So we all play. Runyon, Adam, I know you play. You can't hide it from me.
I haven't played in a while though. I haven't. I have had some stuff to do around the house, but yes, I do play. But I'm not very far. I think I'm maybe level 10.
So
wow.
And Marsh,
I don't play in a while.
We'll skip Marsh right now because that man is amazing. But Jesse, you started playing, and you're pretty hardcore into it.
Yeah, I would say that I would say that we were. My wife definitely is, so by proxy I have to be as well.
Right.
However, it's kind of tending to, I don't know why, and I don't know if, we may get into this here in a few, but it's tending to wane on my things to do. But, when we started out, okay, yes, I was one of the ones probably that downloaded it within 2 days after its U.S. release.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been playing quite a bit, and I got plenty of stories that we can share.
Yes.
So, there you go. Do you want anything else you'd like to ask me?
I'm going to ask you more about this.
Question.
Okay,
I have a question for you, Jesse.
Yes, sir.
And I don't mean to step on your toes, Ronnie, but word on the street is that that giant Pokeballs have been appearing in front of Target stores. Somebody's been painting those big, gigantic red balls outside of Target stores to look like Pokeballs. Can you confirm or deny that that's you, Jesse?
That is not me, sir. I can tell you that is not me.
With 100% assurance, 100% certainty that it is not you.
I am not.
Wow.
Okay, now first off, hold on. Somebody's going around to Target stores and is painting Pokeballs.
Yeah, I just tweeted it. Actually.
Yeah, why didn't I think of it?
Yeah. It's one of those things.
Brilliant, man.
Why didn't I think of that? But apparently, they have been going to the Target stores, and it's not just a few of them.
I've got to see an image or something here, so I'm going to go take a look at your tweet. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, but they've done this at like 400 stores.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and there's some pretty hilarious pictures up there. I mean, they're perfect,
Now, Stephen Marsh.
If I were Target, I'd leave him.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Stephen Marsh, you, sir, are a Pokemon Go master. I mean, it's...
I'm not that far.
Well, I mean, you're better than me, so I look at you as that.
All right, sure. All right. We'll go with that. We'll say that.
I look at you as a Pokemon Go master. This man, and I want you to plug this if you've made more, but you've made videos and help videos and you've helped me. I mean, all this stuff that you post on in our Facebook chats and stuff like that on I don't know, just different things. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know what he's doing, but I'll do it. Just get my phone out and start doing whatever you say. And but you are so far. What level are you now, Steven?
I'm at like 22.5, I think.
But
Jesse, I slowed down. I could be higher, I guess.
I'm halfway between 21 and 22 right now.
Okay. Adam, you said you're like at a level 10, right?
Yeah, I'm like the lowest level nerd here, so I'm sorry.
He's got weak Pokemon game.
Yeah,
I am at a level 16, so I'm not that much stronger. My game is not that much stronger than his.
Well, I mean, I kind of live out in the country too. Like I kind of live out in the middle of nowhere. So to actually go and do anything, I've got to go into town, which the whole town is about. I mean, Ronnie's been here. The whole town's like 1,000 people.
That's true.
So it's just one of those things that when I go into town and actually try to do something, I don't really. I'm doing something else, or I'm driving and trying to play Pokemon Go and drive at the same time is really hard. I don't know if you've done it. I don't recommend it. We don't condone that, but it's really hard.
I just want to point out that Adam, whenever he talks and his picture comes up, he is like perfectly framed. He has lights on, and everybody can see him and all his glory. Oh, yeah. And I look like I'm hiding in a cave somewhere, Blair Witch style, trying to do this because I forgot lights and backgrounds and stuff like that today. So I'm just like I don't. It's sad the way I've done this.
Marsh is like the lawnmower man, and I look like I'm in a rainstorm.
It puts the lotion on the skin. Puts the lotion on the skin.
I mean, I feel like I need to pull the camera closer and go, I'm locked up and I can't get out. I need some help. Somebody call. And I better stop that because somebody might actually tune in and see that and go, oh my God, what's wrong with him?
Next week I'll break out my scented candle and we'll have a night going on in here.
Nice. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
I'm not going to because that's an expensive candle.
Jeez. So, okay. When this hit, it was so popular that if you tried to get online with it, if you tried to play the game, you couldn't get onto any of the servers because they were so overloaded for a while. Mm-hmm. And what was the biggest draw? And we'll start with Steve, and then we'll go Jesse and Adam. What was the biggest draw to you to play this game?
Just like virtual reality aspect. It's weird.
Yeah.
After I started playing it, I realized how much more it was like Digimon. Like Pokemon Go was more like Digimon. If you think about it, like your phone's the digital device, and you see the Pokemon in the digital world, which is still your world. You can't see them with the naked eye. But it just like the idea of going around and seeing stuff in the real world and going to new places that I hadn't necessarily been before was just everything about it was cool to me.
Oh, very cool. Jesse.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's start with a history of a Jesse Starcher back when he was 20 years old.
All right. Everybody, crack your knuckles and lean back and get ready for Papa Starcher to tell us the story.
Jesse Jesse, 20-year-old Jesse Starcher was hanging out playing Magic the Gathering. Okay, Magic the Gathering was.
Oh yeah, now we're talking.
Yeah, we were playing. Me and my buddy used to play that left and right. Well, then my sister, who's 10 years old or so at the time, she's like, "Hey, will you play Pokemon with me?" Okay, now this is the cards and all that good stuff.
Okay.
So I sat down and I played probably 3 games. I was like, I will never touch these cards ever again, just because it wasn't like it was a baby's game, but I understood the appeal it had to kids. These are cartoon characters, blah blah. Never watched an episode of the cartoon in my life.
Okay.
All right, so when did it release? It released like shortly after July 4th weekend or something like that, around I think here in the States. So I remember. I'm going through Facebook, and somebody just puts on there that, hey, Pokemon Go is available in the United States right now. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to check this out. So, and I think Marsh may have sent us a message or two about it. I can't remember the point in time, but I grabbed the early release. I grabbed the release fairly early. Get it right there in my hands, and the little guy pops up. Well, you pick your guy and all that stuff, and I'm trying to sit there and make a move. I'm like, just freaking walk over there. Start walking. What are you doing? I'm clicking all over the thing. I'm like, what is going on? And then I start reading. Okay, we're men. We've played games where we've said, we played games. We put stuff together where we've never checked an instruction manual.
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
Always, all the time.
That's precisely the situation I found myself in.
That's why I'm sitting on a 3-legged chair right now.
that's why his lights aren't turned on in his apartment.
It's extra parts, man. Extra parts.
So, okay. So I'm sitting there, I'm trying to move and do all this other stuff, and then finally I'm like, okay, what am I doing wrong on this game? And I proceed to read about what you're supposed to do, what it all entails. And at that point, I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. My wife was on vacation, so I didn't really have much time that first day to really go out and do anything with it. That second or third day, the servers crashing was just about like, oh, man, you want to talk about wanting to throw a phone, and specifically on iOS.
Yeah.
iOS was like, okay, you're logged out. You've got to put in your Google password and your Google
time.
Every time, dude.
Yeah, I saw your post on that, Jesse, and I didn't understand it at first. Then I downloaded it, and I was like, that's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah.
Drove me nuts, man.
Yeah.
So finally, I take my son out, and I take Colton out, and we both my boys, and we walk down. And then I start realizing the fun in this game and the absolute, just virality. I don't know if virility, the craziness, the Pokemon Go craze that hit the town at that point in time, where everybody was walking around. And when my daughter came back from vacation, I said, you've got to get this game. I talked her into getting it on her mom's phone so she could play a little bit while she's down on vacation. When they came back, I took my daughter out, and we walked, and I said, I want you to remember this day. I said, there is no other point in my life, in my history, where I can think that I've seen so many people play one game. When we grew up, we had Nintendo, we had Sega Genesis, but that all happened in your homes. Okay? Yeah. That didn't happen out on the street. That didn't happen down in the parks. There was so many people, unless you're watching like The Wizard with Fred Savage, and there's a video game tournament going on, you're not going to see that many people playing one game at the same time, and everybody having a different experience at the same time. So I looked at her, I said, you look around here, and I said, I want you to remember what is going on, because this is a game changer. The way that people are playing this game and the amount of people that are playing this game. I said, look at that guy over there. He's got his phone out. He's looking at it. Pokemon Go. Look at that person over there. Yeah, he's driving, but he's looking at his phone. He's playing Pokemon Go. Look at that over there. But you could pick everybody. You could pick people out that were walking, and there were so many people out there, and it was just an absolute phenomenon to watch this game take control. So yeah, I didn't know, other than from what my sister had taught me in regards to some of the characters and some of the monsters. I didn't know much about the history. Now, I had a friend of mine that came in a couple weeks back, and he stayed the week with us. Him and his family stayed the week with us, and I didn't know him very well. I mean, we've known each other for a little while, but it's very rare that he makes his way down here. They live in Maryland or Baltimore, somewhere around that area, Delaware. Okay, maybe California,
possibly Russia.
Possibly Russia, but
the guy actually doesn't exist.
No, what? I just like to interrupt because he did the he's like Maryland, or maybe it was in Baltimore when we went to TriCon. He did, and I was like, because Baltimore is in Maryland, Jesse.
I keep forgetting.
I just realized that. Yeah.
So anyway, he comes in and. We're trying to figure out stuff to do. Well, we just go out every night after the kids go to bed, and we drive around town and go poke hunting. He's sitting shotgun. I'm driving to the spots, and that really made our vacation, his vacation, somewhat my vacation, their visit, more memorable because we were out having a good time playing a game. So anyway, that's my initial thoughts. I've got a great story to tell about that vacation. That vacation run, but I don't want to take up all your time because I went off.
We'll go a little bit about stories here in a minute.
Sure.
Adam, what was the initial reaction? I mean, what was your initial draw to this game?
The initial draw to this game for me was the augmented reality. I thought, okay, we live in a time where we're making, advancements in everything from technology to literature. So I thought, well, let's check out video games. Let's see what this is, and let's see if it actually works. Because I'm always the type of person that says, let's just check it out. If it sucks, it sucks. But this didn't. I got it, and I was like, holy cow! And it was actually when my sister was down here. She was visiting for the week, and so here we are. Like we're, everybody else is kind of doing this thing, and she and I are wandering around my neighborhood, which is a fairly new neighborhood. We're just kind of wandering around, and we're flipping this thing. We're fighting over the same Pokemons and stuff, which is hilarious. But to me, it was the camaraderie that you get with complete strangers. All of a sudden you're going and you're visiting places, in a town that in my case.
Oh.
Or anybody's tourism. If you live in a town that has tourism, you should put Pokestops everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I said Pokestops everywhere.
Yeah, and I mean one of the and I mean everybody got into it. Even local restaurants. One of them said there's a restaurant down here, a barbecue place down here. It said what was it? It was like was it legendary? Is it legendary Pokemon? Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
When it's one you want to no, it said rare. It said possible rare Pokemon inside. If not, there's really good food. So it was. I mean, it was one of those things where for like a month it brought communities together. I don't know if it's waning or not. I'm not sure if the Pokemon craze is starting to tank a little bit, but for like a month, it was just it brought communities together. People were out and meeting each other, and even down here in Charleston, there's they had a there's a place down in Charleston called Marion Square, and there was probably 600 people out there playing the game all at once, and it's this huge field. I mean, I'd say probably 10 acres of nothing but just flat open area, and there were people running around everywhere, and it was all types of people. It wasn't, your typical stereotypical Pokemon players. It was, kids and parents, and you of course you had your typical Pokemon players. Some people knew more about it than others, but it was awesome.
So our friend of the show, Dave G. Pie, actually said he loves how it got folks going outside. Families are out and about playing in the neighborhood, and I completely agree with that. My initial thought of it was it's same thing that he just said as well in his Twitter at Dave G. Pie. When I got to reading about it, it's geocaching. And I love the thought of geocaching and going out but this is basically geocaching for something that doesn't actually exist. But it was so much fun just to go to these certain spots, and I saw more of my town than I had in a while, and I saw more kids out playing and families hanging out and things like that. It was really cool. Now we just had somebody join us in our call in our podcast here, our broadcast. Josh Calandros, one of our correspondents, has joined us in our room here. Josh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm not doing the camera thing, though.
You don't have to do the camera thing. We're playing around right now.
That's because he's not doing the float thing.
No, I'm just on my phone. I'm actually just sitting on the couch watching football.
Sweet.
Don't get up, man. Don't get up.
I mean, I could do the camera thing on my phone, but I'm not going to sit here and hold it to my face and watch TV.
We'll just be looking at your phone.
I was not laughing. It's like, is that your ear, dude?
Well, it's funny because me and Ronnie were talking about this podcast earlier in the week, and I was like, I might not hop on to like 11 because the first college football game of the season is tonight, and it's Hawaii and California in Australia, which is ridiculous.
Jeez.
Yeah.
What time is it? What time is it over there?
It's probably like early afternoon or like dawn. I don't know. But I was like, yeah, I'll hop on, after it becomes clear that Hawaii's going to lose because they're always terrible. But he's like, yeah, that's totally fine. And so I jumped on or started listening to you guys like a few minutes in, and I noticed that it started out with wrestling. I was like, well, I'll come back to that later because I got nothing to contribute, so I'm not missing out on anything. So it's like I checked back a couple different times, and then at I guess 10:40, I think it started to turn over to Pokemon. I was like, all right, I'll hop on here a little bit later.
It was just something real quick we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, no, that's cool for me too, though, because I was gonna be absolute dead weight for that. So,
and we actually mentioned that because I was like, all of us that in the Screaming Boy family here, the correspondents and everybody, we all watch wrestling except for Calandros.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one that has. I think the last thing that I watched might have been in 2003, so that's probably about as far back as my or the most recent wrestling relevance knowledge I've got goes back.
13 years ago. That's awesome.
They're about something.
The question I brought to the other guys was, what was your initial? Of course, we're talking about Pokemon Go and everything and the phenomenon that it is. What was your initial attraction to? Because I know you and your wife Laura play. What was your initial attraction? Your all's initial attraction to this?
Well, my initial attraction, I've always wanted to play the newer releases that come out, but it seems for the various Game Boy platforms and whatnot. But it seems like none of those games ever drop in price.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of paying $50, $60, $70 for a brand new game. I'll just wait 6 or 9 months for a half price thing and start playing it. But the Pokemon games never drop in price. So with this being free and the whole idea of it, I'd read about several months beforehand, and it just sounded really, really cool of a general idea beyond just the Pokemon aspect of it. But I played Red and Blue, the first games that came out, and loved those. Okay. So I thought this was kind of a pretty cool opportunity to jump back into it, and have it be free was all the better.
Now, you have Pokemon history, too. Did you play the card game?
You know what? I didn't actively play a lot. I mean, I played probably a handful of games, but I mean, if you dropped them in front of me, I'd have no clue what was going on.
Because Jesse had mentioned, this is something that we could talk about at a later show too. Mentioned he played Magic the Gathering, and we both played Magic the Gathering. And in fact, I don't know if you still got them, but you had my cards.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I've still got all my cards and everything.
Your cards now.
Well, Laura played Magic for a handful of years too. So like we've got all of our cards, and I actually don't play the card game all that much, but there's a Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest game.
Oh wow, okay.
That I've been playing pretty much daily for a number of months or whatever. So
which one of you guys which one of you guys has my Black Lotus?
Yeah.
that's probably lost on those that
is that still valuable? Like, is that still like crazy valuable?
Black Lotus. Okay, you go ahead and continue to talk. I'll pop right back in here.
Because historically, because I didn't start playing until I guess 5th edition and Tempest and that whole cycle, and at the time that card was like $400, $500, $600.
Yeah.
And
now it's like, I mean, it's crazy expensive now.
Holy crap! I found it. $27,000.
Really?
Yeah, it's a $30,000 card.
Remind me on the stats on that card. Isn't it like 1 or 0 mana and it's instant 5 mana or something like that? It was something stupid.
I think it's 1 mana of any color, kind of like it's 3.
It's 3 mana of any color of your choice to your mana pool, and then it's discarded.
But what does a card do again?
Okay,
that's it. You play the card for no mana, and it adds 3 mana.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. No mana. Just 3 free mana. Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah.
It's not $27,000. Stupid.
Hold on. Because I want. Here we go. You lay this out there. 0 mana adds 3 mana of any single color of your choice to your mana pool, then is discarded. Tapping this artifact can be played as an interrupt. Okay, go ahead.
But the reason it had that weird wording is because that was the first ever round of cards that came out.
Yeah.
And it basically just means that in current, at least whenever I was playing, in like modern Magic terms, that basically just means just destroy the artifact.
Yeah.
So like you pay 0 to play the artifact, and then you activate it and it just destroys. But at the time it was the wording was discard.
I mean, it's just like it was 0 to cast. So if you had 3 of these in your hand, you lay out 3 of them, you got 9 mana.
Yeah,
right
dude. The possible as the years go by, and I mean, I can understand it continuously going up in value. Not 27,000 because that's stupid, but like I can see it continuously going up in value because that's really a cool thing about Magic is like it gets more and more complex with all these different combos as time goes by, and like an instant 3 mana or 6 or maybe even 9 on your first hand is just stupid.
Quick plug if you haven't seen it yet, Josh. There's a World Championships, a Magic World Championships documentary on Netflix.
Oh, really?
Yes,
I've seen it. I haven't seen it, but I've seen it.
Was that where the guy went around taking pictures of himself next to butt cracks? Like,
oh my God, that's the funniest thing ever.
Oh my
word! That's not what the documentary is about. No,
because that is so representative of Magic tournaments.
Because
I've been to 2 or 3 or 4 of them, and every single time, like,
just butt cracks everywhere.
No, but like I felt bad thinking about this, but I'm like, I feel like I'm the coolest dude in the room, and like I am not an overall cool dude, and I was like, I am like maxing out the cool factor right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
So okay, Pokemon Go.
Yes.
Yeah. So I had no clue about the background of any of this, of any of the monsters. I just knew that Pokemon meant pocket monster in Japanese, I guess. Or something like that, and it was an odd concept, and I'd never watched a cartoon or anything like that. That they have these little, you capture these animals and you keep them in this ball, away from their family, and loved ones, and you just keep it, and then you throw it at other monsters, and you make them fight. I don't know if it's to the death or whatever.
Imprisonment and enslavement for my collection's sake.
Exactly.
When you put it there, it sounds like he's this sadistic dog napper.
So,
I mean, if you sit and think about it, it's a pretty messed up concept.
it really is. So I didn't know anything really about it, but the thought of geocaching on this game was incredible. So I started hearing about the only one everybody knows. Everybody knows at least one Pokemon, and that's Pikachu. And I don't know whether you no, it's Pikachu. No, but it's everybody knows at least one Snorlax, Pikachu, whatever, and but nobody really knows what they are. And I think there's one that's Ekans, and it's just Snake backwards. So I think that's what turned me off of the actual game before this one. But so I didn't have any clue of what these monsters were, what they represented, or what who was more powerful, or how to evolve them, or things like that. And I think at one point there's Stardust involved in the game, of course, and you have to have Stardust, and you have to have candy.
And then you get gold dust
for each monster to evolve them.
Does Dusty Rhodes ever show up?
You know what's funny is like whenever you said that, I was like, oh, does it become gold dust later on? Is that something that actually happens?
No more wrestling jokes.
Well, no, like that was actually during the time whenever I was watching. So I caught on real quick that time.
He actually is still wrestling, Josh. So,
like Ric Flair brings out his walker every now and then, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So if he can do it, I think gold dust is good for another 2 or 3 decades.
Yeah.
So they were telling me, like Steven and Jesse were telling me, helping me out how to evolve them and all this stuff. So,
wait, you can evolve them?
Wait, once he hits that 11th level, maybe he might start figuring things out.
I haven't been able to do anything with them yet.
Yeah, you have like a set number of like each time you catch one, you get 3 candy of that particular type, and then each one that you catch has to have a certain amount of that candy to evolve. And so like whenever you evolve, like they obviously become stronger. But
right.
it's a weird system that really has no tutorial or instructions whatsoever.
Yeah, they don't give you nothing. It's like, here's the game.
That's another thing, yeah.
It was a really awkward rollout.
So,
an awkward rollout that didn't work the first month.
Well, that was all part of it. Like, it didn't work, and it didn't tell you how to play the damn game. I mean, you can walk around and figure it out.
Instructions. Who needs instructions?
It's a relatively simple game, but there's some like strategy to it. Like if you go to a gym and you're fighting a fighting type Pokemon, what are the weaknesses? Like what do you use to max out against that
role playing game?
Yeah, I mean the original games, the Game Boy games, those are all just very stereotypical Japanese RPG style video games, and this game, this Pokemon Go, holds true to that as a foundation, but it reached such a large, wide base. People were like, I don't know how any of this works, and they basically just had to figure out on their own, or have internet communities of which I'm sure have popped up. But it was a really lazy rollout.
So let me ask y'all something about this. Explain to me the concept of teams, because I've heard that there are gigantic teams and smaller teams. What's the benefit of being part of a team?
I mean, from what I've gathered, you pick red, blue, or yellow, and that's pretty much the extent of it. You know, like I mean, It doesn't matter which one you pick. Like there's like different Facebook groups for them and stuff, but like it doesn't matter. Like there's no difference between the 3 of them that I've been able to delineate.
Like,
wait a minute, Steven, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I heard it was based off the legendaries. That would be based off of like your team affiliation. Like maybe the blue team Articuno, Instinct will just be Zapdos, and Valor just be Moltres. I hope like eventually they give the teams like a chance to catch the other 2, or however that's going to work. But as far as like the legendaries have gone, I've read like 5 different stories about how to do those, so it's hard to tell.
Well, see, like if that's gonna be the case though, like they gotta tell you that before stuff starts, man. Like you can't.
Right.
You can't just like pick an arbitrary team and then like 6 months after the launch be like, the
Blue
team that you
sucks.
pick determines a legendary type that you get. It's like,
Right,
I don't want this one.
There's a tabletop gaming store down this way, and the big thing that they have Pokemon tournaments. Gosh, weekly. I mean, there's probably multiple times a week they have Pokemon tournaments, but they kind of will tout this is Team Valor or Mystic. Mystic is a big one down here. I mean, I've seen cars with the big what is that, like the bird or whatever that's on that is their mascot. They've taken these decals and they put them on the back of their cars.
I like to think that it's going to turn into like really nerdy weak turf wars.
Oh,
Like in real life.
gang
where it's
warfare, buddy.
No, this is Mystic territory, son. You got to get out of here and like, shut up, nerd.
And then they
That's the
slap
greatest thing
each other
ever.
like this. Stop.
Yeah.
Don't hit me.
What are you doing?
Oh,
Please,
stop scratching me.
I'm
It's like
just walking through.
It's like on like the Jets, where they're like, yeah, the oh shoot, forget it.
I do not know that reference.
It's oh gosh. Keep going, but I will come back to this later. But what is that? Okay, Google it.
You said the Jets. I'm thinking of the Jetsons. Is that what you're trying to reference?
Are we talking about that musical where people fight but dance and sing at the same time, and
West Side
it's really
Story.
dumb?
West Side Story.
Yeah, West Side Story.
I didn't want to
and
be
it
the
would've
one
been-
to scream it out because I already knew it.
Ronnie, you
shut
and I,
up.
man, I know.
I knew it was a musical, but that's as far as I got.
Yeah, it's West Side Story, and I could not remember the
I thought it
name
was a
of
cartoon.
this stupid thing.
So, all right, let me ask you a question, Stephen. Good Stephen Marsh. Are you still with us? All right.
I'm here.
So, what's your highest CP of a Pokemon that you have?
Oh.
I gotta get
You
my
got
phone
a purpose to
prepared.
open the app. You think it's just open? Yeah, everybody's scrambling for their phone now. They're like, oh wait,
You don't know?
I know the
You don't
question's
know off the
coming
top
now.
of your head?
No, because I'm playing not for power. I'm playing to complete the Pokedex. That's my main. Seriously, that's my main goal. Like, I
He's
just
gotta
wanna-
catch them all.
Oh my God! So
Yeah, that's
somebody
my goal.
on somebody on my Facebook posted like some screen cap of her catching like some relatively rare one, but it like when she caught it, it showed it in the screen cap. It also showed how much Stardust she had, and
How much?
It was like 80-some thousand or something, and I was like, "What the hell are you even doing?" Like
Wait,
you
Steve-
are complete. I was like, "Why do you have so much Stardust?" She was like,
Steven-
"Oh, I don't use it. I just collect." I was like, "Well, you're like
Yeah, it was
not
just
even
80,000.
playing half the game."
Stephen Marsh has a full-on zip code for his,
I did. Now I've used some. It's went down, but 1963 Snorlax, and my
Oh,
Stardust is 124678 is what my Stardust is sitting at now.
Both
What-
out.
Wow,
See,
I
but
don't-
because here's the thing. This is where the events come in. If the events are a real thing, then when I go fight, if they roll out a Mewtwo and we have to battle it, then it seems stupid. But I want to power up my Venomoth because he's a bug type and he does well against. Like, I don't want to sink all my Stardust into the wrong Pokemon
Playing the long
and then just
game.
get like my butt kicked and miss out on a Mewtwo.
He really is playing a long game.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's-
even kidding.
I'm just sitting here like,
Right.
I think everybody says Vaporeon's the best, so I'm trying to pump mine into that one, and I got like 2,200 Stardust right now.
Jesse, what's your highest rated?
CP 1605 Slowbro.
Nice.
Slow, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Man,
He's
y'all
slow
are killing
down.
me.
What's your Stardust?
Right now, we're sitting at. Let me take a look here. 2,686. So I certainly don't play to like. Me being at a Pokemon event is probably pretty rare. It's probably going to be as rare as that Pokemon that shows up. but I am not. So what I'm doing is I'm powering up, and for some reason I do this a lot on any RPG that I play. I always tend to equalize all my experience out. So, I want to get this guy a little bit more, and get this guy a little bit more, and this guy a little bit more. So, I really start to analyze how I play this game versus other games, and I start to see the same trends, and I believe I'm in the same boat. I see people post pictures with, I can't believe you got hundreds of thousands of Stardust sitting there. Do you not know what to do with it?
I mean, you could gain so much more if you use that to level up the characters you have. You could be gaining so much more experience at a quicker rate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that.
See,
I'm looking at it as a very mathematical formula where if you apply that Stardust to the team that you have, then your rate of experience and other Pokemon collection that rate increases. So why are you deliberately holding yourself back?
Yeah.
My whole thought was this make him good, me use.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
in other words, you
This
had no
is
hilarious. What you're
hilarious.
doing.
No clue.
Yeah.
No clue. Josh, what's your highest rated CP and
I was
your Stardust?
playing really heavy there, like the first month or two, and have kind of dropped off. Also, we live in a relatively rural area where there is absolutely nothing going on here. So
Yeah.
I hear you, man.
I've got a bunch. I have 7 or 8 that are above 1,000, but my top is only like 1377.
Jeez, you're still destroying me.
I have a 1377 and a 1346 Vaporeon because they're apparently the best fighting type right now.
Right.
Because their attack rate is extremely high.
And what was your Stardust again?
It's like 2,700 because I use it constantly.
Adam, CP and Stardust.
I have no idea because I'm just now having to re-download the game.
Oh well, okay.
Yeah. But I did find really funny bumper stickers. If you guys want to see them, you see that? Caution: this vehicle makes frequent stops for Pokemon.
Jeez.
Remember what I was talking about driving?
Oh,
Need some of those.
Lord.
Isn't that ridiculous?
That's awful. All right.
Caution! I am a terrible, dangerous driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
I mean, that's really all that says.
My highest is 1,200, and I have 60 Stardust.
Wow.
60.
60.
You probably live in more of a metro area than any of us, dude.
Yeah. You should be out there.
No,
Yeah.
like in my neighborhood, there's nothing. There's nothing. Now, it was okay. So I recently was in Orlando, so we went to Magic Kingdom and I went to Hollywood Studios. So
Disney was ridiculous.
I promised myself I was not going to play Pokemon Go while I was at Disney.
Man, you missed out on opportunity.
You did.
I did not miss out on the opportunity to see the entire park instead of looking through a screen the entire time. But I was in Tomorrowland, and I was getting ready to get on the People Mover because I just needed a chill ride just to relax for a minute. The People Mover just moves you around and lets you look at different stuff. And so I was like, just out of curiosity, I want to see what it is. So I brought up the old Pokemon Go, and it was insane.
Yeah, but you got like 20 Pokemon you'd never even seen before.
Yeah, and I was just like, I can't do this, and I had to put it up.
No!
Yeah, it was like, I can't do this because I'll be addicted. I won't be able to do anything. I won't talk to my family. I won't look at anybody in the eye. I won't enjoy the rides. I won't do anything like that. And there were Pokestops every 5 feet. It felt like.
Wow.
And I was like, I could rack up here.
Do you all feel like that the craze has died down, and that or do you think? I mean, I think it's almost unanimous that it has died down a bit. But do you think that it's going to plateau and kind of continue at this rate, or it's going to continue kind of going down and at a relatively continuous?
Well,
rate?
okay.
That was my next question. Do you think Pokemon Go is still around? Oh, no. That's perfect. Pokemon Go is it staying, or is that Pokemon went?
No. Here's
Hey,
we
I got jokes.
I saw the article there. I think it was on the internet talking about how it's lost. I just had it here a few seconds ago. Let me pull that back up. It lost, I think, a total of like 10 million users over the last month. It's lost a good bit.
But like, what was the height of user?
Yeah,
number,
exactly.
Because if that's like a 10% number, like that's not that. I mean, that's not.
Yeah,
like
that's not bad.
disastrous.
Yeah.
But we're talking.
I have some stats here if you guys would like to see them.
Stats.
All right.
So basically, it goes from unknown to 50 million users in a month.
Right.
Wow.
50 million.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And it looks like as of right after July 4th, it went from 0, peaked to 50 million, and right now, as of 10 days ago, they're hanging out somewhere around 47 million.
All right. So I mean, it's dropped off, but it's not like
still respectable.
This little graph I'm looking at here, as you can see.
Graphs.
You know, it kind of started down here, went up to
So that
50 million.
seems to be like a relatively okay rate of descent, really, because you're going to have an incredible spike for something that's relatively, for lack of a better term, like fad-like. But
yeah, and it is a fad.
Yeah,
it says
totally.
As of August 18th, over 40 million people are still actively playing Pokemon Go, and that's SurveyMonkey. I'm not sure how reliable their data is, though.
They can change so much with this game to make it more.
yeah.
You could come back to this game in a month, and if they want to, I'm sure they have the ability to add as many Pokemon as they want. If they want to, or add. They've been talking about adding the battle feature you hear rumors about that. Dude, battling, I mean, that's a whole different aspect of this game that would make people be like, oh, crap. Now, as to whether it would gain those 10 million back, I don't know.
Well, and that's what I was thinking, too, is that like it's super interesting that whenever it first came out, it's pretty much completely new. And, the whole concept is really interesting. It's really intriguing, and that probably grabs some people. But I think just if you sit and think about what could be, like you could do so much cool stuff with this. Like if you could see other players and walk up to them and battle them, or trade with them, or swap items, or just different levels of like there's a whole bunch of different stuff you could do with the gyms. All you can do now is show up and fight, but I mean, you can see what this could become. I mean, it's not right now. It's just like collect things and fight at gyms. I mean, that's literally the entire concept of the format right now. But they've basically created a different world on the map of the existing world. And I mean, if you want to extrapolate that in any different direction you want, you could do anything with this game. And if they don't, they're just missing out on a pile of money.
Real quick before we do anything else, I want you all to think of one story about Pokemon Go, one good, like, funny story or off-the-wall story. But you said sitting on a pile of money. Out of 40-some million users, how many? Okay, say they break down and spend $1 on the game. I just need some gems or coins to. What you got there, Adam?
An Apple Charger.
Oh, okay.
What are you doing, buddy?
So they
a
spend.
bomb.
It's a bomb. They spend $1 to get some coins, to get some extra Pokeballs or whatever. They've immediately made $47 million.
Dude, that guy that came and visited us there on vacation, I watched him probably drop $10 in a span of 2 or 3 days, buying incense or buying a lure.
Yeah.
It was nothing. It was like nothing to him. So there are plenty of people out there that have the inclination to spend that much more.
Exactly. Well, down in Orlando, I was at a shop called Gods and Monsters. It was a pop culture store. I told Jesse about it. I told all of you about it, but and they had a Pokemon Go day that happened to be. I was there, and I think it was going on at the time, they had recharging stations for your phone where they had different chargers. You can just plug it up. And they dropped lures all day long. So this business...
That's genius.
Yeah, exactly. They got themselves to be a Pokestop, and they dropped lures there all day long. So,
but that's just genius though, because all they have to do as a business, if they want to do that, is buy lures regularly enough to do that. And if it's going to work, that's definitely worth it. What are you paying for lures? I mean, you use one every half hour, 60 minutes, something.
Right. So 8-hour workday, you spend.
That's 16 lures. So how much is a lure? Spend $1 for what, 5 or 10 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
So that's what, like $5 a day?
No, you spend more than that. I think you spend like $5 or $10 for so many of them. But no, it's genius for them because this business they can almost write it off as a business expense, or anything like that.
Yeah, you're right. They probably can.
And then they're drawing people in because that drew people in. I mean, it was one of those things where, like, I hadn't played Pokemon the whole week while I was in Orlando. I said, well, I'm not going to start now, but this is a really good idea because if somebody's out there, let me see, incense is 80 coins for one of them. So if you buy 8 lure modules, it's 680 coins. And if you buy 2,500 coins, it's $20.
Mm-hmm. Or so basically $25 for the 8 lures.
Yeah, you pay $10, you get 1,200 Poke coins, and then you get you'd have to go up to the $20. So you buy $20 worth of coins, you get the lures, and then your place is a Pokestop, and there's kids coming into that store, and while they're there, they've got all these things that they're interested in anyway, like pop vinyl figures, comic books, all this stuff, and then they have they go shopping while they're there. It's genius.
But places like that get their biggest draw from foot traffic anyway. That's exactly what that's doing.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there's across from there's a mall here, and there's a store called Cork and Cow. So it sells wine and cheese and craft beers and things like that, and they make sandwiches now. They're a Pokestop. Lures there constantly, and I'm like at a place that's at a wine shop, but there's an ice cream store right next to it. There's a Cold Stone right next to it, things like that, and there's people there. When this first dropped, I saw people all over this mall. It's an outside mall, just walking with their phones out, talking to their friends, hanging out, sitting out, eating ice cream and playing on their phone and talking to each other and laughing, and that's what I'm saying. As far as this game goes, I think it's wonderful because it's gotten people out of the house.
Dude, like the first month or whatever, people were talking so much trash about it, and I was like, why are people so upset about people getting out and about in their community and interacting with people they otherwise wouldn't? No. Like, I don't. Where's the downside to this? Like, people are getting out, they're being more active. They're being more social than they normally would, especially like our generation and or younger, which the older generations than we are consider us as antisocial, shut-ins or whatever. Right. So what's to be upset about? Like, all these losers playing Pokemon, but why is that? Where's the downside? What's the negativity here?
Let me tell you something right now. Okay, this game. Okay, you guys have heard the common phrase trigger here lately, mm-hmm. I'm sure, okay? I don't get triggered very often. This game triggered me. I shouldn't say the game didn't. It was the negativity around it that made me go, this is the first time I ever felt so incensed about the disgusting amount of people out there that want to drag you down because you're trying to enjoy something and you're sharing with everybody out there what you're enjoying, and then you got people that just want to post their funny little memes and their pictures to try and drag it down.
Plus, they never really say why they think it's stupid. Like, why is this stupid? Why is it a waste of time? Why is this like apparently destroying society to your viewpoint? You know,
they're a bunch of meatheads.
Because it is.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you got.
It's that tiny sliver of society that still exists that thinks video games are just like a boon on society.
Yeah.
Which I'm surprised that even exists anymore.
It's about people not wanting other people to enjoy what they're doing. That is what
just trolls.
Why did you have to take time out of your day to give everybody else crap about something that they like doing?
Because there's always going to be somebody out there that is just miserable enough about something in their life or about their entire life that will just absolutely crap on something else somebody likes just to get a rise out of them and to make themselves feel better.
Yeah, I think we're all old enough now to where, you know, those types of statements when you're growing up are just kind of cliche. Oh, well, that's just what people say. But as you grow up, like, some of these cliche statements are cliche for a reason because they're true. Yeah. And it's like what, you know, why is there so much negativity? And it's just because, like, literally those people are so unhappy with some aspect of their lives and they focus on negative thoughts for such a high percentage of their day that they're under the impression that that's how they have to interact with society. Mm-hmm. And that's what they put out there. And it's like, well, you all were just playing Pokemon, and I've never played it, and all I remember growing up or being an adult when that came out was just a bunch of losers spending 10 hours a day playing Pokemon. And it's like, dude, who cares? Like, who are you?
I spent 10 hours a day playing Dungeons and Dragons, and
you know what?
And that was a short campaign.
You were in your house and nobody could see you. Okay, I think that was a big portion of it too. Now people actually have to deal with the fact that they got to see, oh my gosh, that guy over there, look at him, he's enjoying his life, or he's enjoying playing a game, and I have to see it. Don't make me see it.
I think it's twofold too, though, is because one, there's probably a legitimate frustration factor of like younger kids, like teenagers, like walking around in the middle of the road, not even looking at what they're doing, right? Because I've seen that, like people playing Pokemon, crossing the road without even looking. You're like, dude, it's not a red light yet. You should probably not get yourself killed.
Yeah, that's
true. So there's a frustration factor there. You know, there's stupid people. There's always going to be stupid people. But like it's also just the other fact of like, why would you be upset about more people in your community interacting with each other? Like, Huntington, West Virginia had some meetup event in Ritter Park, like just a handful of weeks after the game came out. Like, it was relatively brand new.
That was actually...
And there was like 200 or 300 people that went to Ritter Park, and they were all hanging out, and they were all like, oh, what do you have? Like, what do I... And those are people that would otherwise have never met or talked to each other.
Right.
Like, what's the downside there? There's nothing negative that can come from that.
Those are actually friends of mine, and believe it or not, that's actually a church that put that on, of all things. So, you know, it's one of those things that it's every single... I'm going to say every single nerd, because none of us really get offended by that term, but every single nerd, we all go through the same... It's the same stuff that we were going through when we were little. You know what I mean?
But that's why I'm surprised that even exists anymore, because, like, nerd culture is, like, the cool thing to do now, man. Like,
right.
If you're not loving the Avengers movies and Suicide Squad and all this stuff that, dude, if that stuff would have come out when we were kids, it would have been the worst movie ever made, and it wouldn't have got anywhere. But now it's the cool thing to do. So I don't understand, like, I'm surprised there's still people that can come out and be like, I can't believe these nerds. It's like, but nerds are cool now, dude. Like, you're the loser.
Right.
Hey, I want to ask Stephen Marsh something here. Stephen, are you still with us, sir?
Yes, sir.
He's just quiet.
I want to ask, when you were out playing, did anybody catcall you?
Oh, dude. They would call me. I would get Facebook notifications, Twitter notifications. I'd be like, oh, what's on my... Oh, never mind. Just getting a call. Like, my phone would just start vibrating. I'm like, what is... All of my wife's calling me. It's the
Oh,
time to check in.
so when you're out there and you get and you're thinking it's a Pokemon. Now let me ask you this: while you were out there, did anybody while you were walking around doing the Pokemon thing, were people like yelling like Pokemon at you or giving you a hard time
about it?
No, I've never got that. I mean, I have a couple people at work that are like there were people that were doing the same exact thing that you guys were talking about, like, oh, I can't believe you're doing it, whatever. It's funny because one of the people that I work with was like, posted that meme, was like, oh, I can't play Pokemon because I have a job. I was like, we work together. I also have that same job. Yeah. I was like, you're not making any sense whatsoever.
You do realize you don't have to sit and play this for an hour and a half straight. You can play it in like 90-second bursts.
Right, exactly.
It's not really like killing my day at work or anything.
Dude, the way our town is set up here in Marietta, there are Pokestops that just litter this park that has a bike path. So pretty much our journey every other night there for a long time was to take the kids out and go for a walk along this bike path. Well, that also runs right beside one of the busiest streets in Marietta. And I mean, for probably at least 2 weeks, if you were out there walking with your phone in your hand, somebody was driving by yelling Pokemon or some kind of stupid phrase at you. Stop playing that Pokemon. It's like, it was such a fad that people
quit being outside, walking and getting fresh air and exercising, you loser. I'm gonna drive to the pizza store and go home and sit on the couch until I sleep.
That's right. That's right. It was just.
Oh man!
What a phenomenon! Just a crazy phenomenon.
Well, see, we live in Albany, New York, and like it's notedly more liberal up here, which is totally good by me. Like that's very welcome for my wife and I. But like there's been nothing about that up here. There's Albany's the state capital in New York, and the state capitol building downtown is about 2 blocks from like this beer hall that we go to most Tuesday nights for trivia. And trivia doesn't start till 9, so we've started getting down there at like 7:30 and roaming around the state capitol building, going on like Pokemon hunts and just kind of walking around. And it's a relatively hilly town, so you've got like a pretty decent amount of activity that you do to kind of walk around that area. But within a 2-block square of where the state capitol building is, you can hit like literally 20 stops. If you walk around on the front end of the state capitol building, you can get 7 on a like 15-minute quick walk around the front end. So it's like we kind of go over there and walk around and hit the stops and use an egg for the experience and lures and stuff. And the first time we went over there, this guy ran over to us and this was, I don't know, about a month ago or so. So like everybody was all over the place, like looking at their phones and chatting with each other and stuff. And this guy runs up to, and this was when they still had the 1, 2, or 3 steps on like what Pokemon were close.
The Poke Feet.
Yeah, and so the guy ran up to us. He was like, "Have you seen the Hitmonlee?" And I was like, I haven't played Pokemon since like Red and Blue. So it's been like 90. Well, that came out what, 97, 98 or something.
Oh my gosh.
So like I was like, what? Because there's a lot of stuff up here where if I'm reading it and I don't hear somebody say it, I pronounce it incorrectly. Like there's a lot of weird pronunciations up here. There's a city outside of Rochester, New York, spelled Chili.
That's chilly.
And it's Chili, New York.
That's wrong. That is incorrect.
I mean, that's just one of a litany of things. So I didn't know what this guy was coming to me with, and I was like, huh? And so he mentioned it a couple times, and he kept looking at his phone, and I just assumed it was a Pokemon. But he was like, yeah, he's like 1 or 2 steps, and I've seen him a couple times, but every time I see him and click on him, he's gone, and this and that and the other thing. And but it was cool though, like you got people coming up to you and they were like, "What about this? Have you seen this? Like, is this a good way to go?" And this and that and the other thing. And it's just a cool experience.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Stephen Marsh,
Hearts.
I'm here.
Okay. You there, Steven?
I'm here.
There he is. Oh, wow.
It's Ultron.
Dave G-Pie, at Dave G-Pie just tweeted us, said, wait, so Chila is like Hurricane, West Virginia?
Hurricane.
But that's my point. Like, it's all regional dialect, and I don't get that stuff up here.
Yeah, I was going to mention that exact same thing.
Has anybody ever heard of Worcester, Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Okay,
Worcester.
so how, if you know Worcester, don't say this, but if you've never heard of Worcester, Massachusetts, how would you spell Worcester?
W-U-S-T-E-R.
All right, so Worcester is spelled W-O-R-C-E-S-T-E-R.
That's crazy.
And you can tell when somebody's not from the area if they pronounce the R. If they pronounce it right and say Worcester, that's still, they're still not from here because it's Worcester. Because it's right outside of Boston, and Boston accents are ridiculous.
Baston. No, there's a place. And when I was in college, I would go back and forth between Huntington, West Virginia, and Nashville, Tennessee, all the time, like once a week. And you'd have to go through a place that I always called Versailles.
Yeah, because that's how it's
right. But when we stopped in there, we were talking to them. They literally will pronounce it Versailles. The people who live there call it Versailles.
Yeah, that's it's spelled like the French city Versailles, but it's in Kentucky, it's called Versailles.
Yeah, but I can't really say much.
Place.
I can't really say much because the adjacent town where I grew up is spelled Hurricane. Everybody and their brother says, "Oh, there's a hurricane coming," but no, daggone it, it's a hurricane. Because that's what we call it.
You're even kind of leaving further, pronouncing the I. It's usually just hurricane.
Hurricane, right?
Hurricane.
Roll that stuff together as much as you can, man.
Those kids from Rocky Step, that's what they call it.
So, Stephen Marsh, have you thought of a good Pokemon Go story for us?
I have the best one happened on like the very first day of release. Was I went down to the park just to check the game out or whatever, to see like how it was going, and I'm getting ready to head back to my car, and I see a guy driving, and all of a sudden he just like stops his car, looks down at his phone, and I just point at him. I'm like, Pokemon? He looks at me, he's like, Pokemon, and then we have like a 10-minute conversation about like,
oh, that's brilliant,
about how this is going to change everything.
It would have been even better.
I wanted to go back to stats.
Sorry, I was just going to say it would have been even better if you'd have been like, Pokemon, and he just drove off and you walked in opposite direction.
Just gave each other a meaningful nod. And then drove off. Or just pointed at each other.
I wanted to go back to stats, and it dropped off because of the tracking system starts working again. I think those people that dropped off are going to come back in, and it's going to keep Pokemon going.
There was a tracking thing?
Well, the steps.
Yeah, the
Pokefeet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like now that.
Why were people so frustrated with them taking that away?
It wasn't that. What happened was that went away, and then you had the third-party people who were breaking into the system, like Pokevision, and you could tell where the Pokemon were exactly at, and you didn't even have to be near it. Like you could just go. And then once they took those away, plus the tracking system was gone, like a lot of people got ticked off and then just shut the game like out of their phone.
Weird.
So, Jesse, I know you got us a couple of good stories.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you the one about... This is kind of depressing. It may
bring it down.
Well, it may very well possibly be the actual moment where it kind of ruined some of the magic for me. And granted,
I was tell you about how his Pokemon Go life got turned upside down.
Oh, it was bad. It was really bad. Okay, so this was
turned upside down.
This was
one little fight, and your mom got scared. Right?
So I mentioned how my good buddy Lowell, by the way, Lowell's his name. He come down from Maryland, California, Delaware, and
what? Hold up. What?
I don't think you're in here for that one.
No,
Maryland and Delaware are close. California. Sorry, go ahead.
He's from Delaware. But anyway, they came down and they spent the week with us. So it was, I think, the final night that he was here. Now, just like we were talking about, there's no instruction booklet. There's not a whole lot other than doing research on the internet and trying to figure out, what's going on with this game. You're kind of at a loss. So me and Lowell were doing pretty good understanding of kind of what happens in the game and, evolving your guys up and fighting gyms. He was Team Yellow, and I was Team Blue. And we would go out, from probably 11 o'clock at night and then drive around Marietta for probably a good hour and a half and hit Pokestops, catch whatever we can, and then hit a gym. Now, we didn't decide to hit a gym until, the night before he left. So we go down to this. We're looking for the good gyms to pick off. Looking for those low levels. Okay.
Yeah.
The ones that we can maybe hop in there. And what I didn't realize at the time was that 2 different color teams can attack a gym at the same time and knock it down. I always thought it had to be the same color team. Well, that night we figured out, well, shoot, we can both attack these gyms. And of course, I wanted to give him the opportunity to leave a guy at a gym because I don't think he had. I think he had done that, but I wanted to leave one down here in Marietta, see how long it'd stick around. So, okay. So we're looking for a good place to stop, and it's it's about 10 after 12. So it's running pretty late. This is not a weekend. This is like a Tuesday or a Wednesday or something. So I've got to get up for work the next morning. But I'm like, man, we're going to take a gym tonight, and we're going to leave somebody there. So we find this gym. It's like a level 5 gym, and we battle, and we park, and we park alongside of the street. We had to, a cop going by had to have been like scratching their head because we're just like out in the middle of nowhere in the middle of the street, parked along the side of the road with both of our phones up.
By the way, I'm sure cops hate this game.
I know they do.
When you're done, I'm gonna tell you a story that this is the only Pokemon Go story.
All right.
That I have, but continue.
Okay. So we continue to battle, and we knock this level 5 gym all the way down to a 0. And we battle for 45 minutes. Okay, quarter till 12. I'm like, yes, all right, my man. And Lowell's like, okay. He picks his best guy and leaves him there. All right, it's 1:45 in the morning on a Tuesday. All right, so there's not, we don't see anybody around. There's not people hanging out, eating snacks, playing Pokemon Go at this time of night. So I'm like, all right, let's go ahead. I guess we'll go ahead and head home. And then we decide, no, wait a second. There's another gym down here. It looks like there's some people fighting. We'll stop down here. Well, anyway, I get up. I go down probably about a block and turn around. And then Lowell goes, what the? And I'm like, what's going on? He says, that gym just turned blue. I said, you're Team Yellow. I said, this doesn't make sense. There's nobody around. What the heck is going on? We're no more than 5 minutes outside of him putting his guy in there. So I pull around, I go down to the bridge, park under the bridge, and he opens. You know how you can pick on a gym and look and see who is actually in the gym, right? Mm-hmm. It's my brother-in-law. And I'm like, wait a second. So I send him a text. I
hope he was trolling you. I hope he's just following you. Be like, I'm gonna pick him off for fun.
So I send him a text. I'm like, because we'd been talking about Pokemon Go the whole time. So I sent him a text. I'm like, hey, aren't you supposed to be in bed? Something along those lines. And he's like, I said, where are you at? And he's like, I'm at home. I said, no, you're not. I said, you just attacked this gym that we just took down here on 2nd Street. We're a good 5-6 miles outside of his house.
Nothing.
And he's like, he goes, you caught me. He says, you caught me. I'm like, what do you mean? So I immediately think, oh, yeah, he's actually following us, just like you said, Josh. I'm thinking he's followed us, and he's, like, hanging out watching and he's taking these gyms. He's sitting at his house, and he has a hacked game where he can use his phone, and there's a joystick that controls his guy, and he walks across town taking gyms from the seat of his couch. Now, when he tells me this, I am aptly calling BS as much as I can until he proceeds to send me a video of himself doing it on the couch. And I'm like,
here's me doing it, sucker.
You have got to be kidding me.
But all of my effort, all of my time.
That, my friend, is the day the Pokemon Go music died.
Yeah, that's disenfranchising.
Oh, it broke my heart. I looked over at Lowell. I mean, we sat there for 45 minutes. We went through the whole Killer Instinct soundtrack and sat there and battled the whole time. And then we have it just thrown into our face that, hey, are you guys out driving? Oh, geez, that's just silly. I can do it right here from my house. And from there on out, you know, I go to a gym and I see him there, and I'm just like, you know, I want to curse many curse words because I'm just like, dude, you suck because you do not understand the point of this game. You do not understand the fact that, you know, people are spending.
You just don't know, man. You just don't know.
You don't get it. You
don't get it.
What's even worse is that I think I might be the cause, the impetus for him to play this game because prior to this, about a week prior, I got into a bit of an argument with him by calling his Pikachu a Weekachu.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing that the Miz and Daniel Bryan argued over.
That might be why. So, me and him, when we get to play, you know, he comes over. We usually play like some kind of outside game, whether it be ladder golf or something. You know, something. We're always competitive, and he takes it to the nth level.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
I talked him into this game, and I created a monster.
Hubris.
And it come back, and it bit me so bad. It was the absolute worst experience I've had with this game. So it might be that's the best story I got. Unfortunately, it's a heartbreaking one.
All right, Adam.
So I have one story, and it goes a little something like this. So
Lord.
No, it's actually just a strange story, and it was one of those weird, strange stories. I'm afraid I don't get it. What's so funny? What's so funny?
Just keep going.
Funny? Is something hilarious, people?
No, you said it went a little something like this, and we started doing like 80s rap noises.
80s rap, yeah.
Felt like you were about to drop a sick beat.
I'm getting ready to, if you guys will let me.
Tell your story.
No, but so I downloaded this thing, and I'm walking around the neighborhood just trying to see what's around, and it's like probably 11:30 at night. Everybody's in bed. I'm trying to just get used to the game. Anyway, there's a park at the very end of our neighborhood, the very back side of our neighborhood. There's a pool down there. Anyway, I'm over there chasing down something. It may have been something like a Charmander or something that's like completely and totally not a good thing to get, because all I do for the first 6 hours is get those stupid things. But anyway, so I'm chasing one down, seeing what it is, and literally I hear.
Dun dun.
It had to cut out right there.
Yeah, I know, right?
And just then, I
was saying, just then I hear a child laughing, and I'm like, what the heck is that? Is that a kid? And I'm looking around, and there's like this kid who's no more than 5, just standing there with Pokemon, like a Pokemon using his little thing. I'm like,
horror.
Yeah, I mean, like.
I was like, that's so weird.
And what time of day was it?
It's like 11:30.
At night?
Yeah. And I look at him, he turns around and he runs. Like, he just, like, runs away.
You didn't You didn't see a kid. You saw a Pokemon Go demon.
Yeah, that was a ghost.
Pokemon Ghost. No, I was like,
nice.
That's so. I was like, that's so weird. So then I was like, did I see what I thought I did? Because it happened so quickly. I was like, what?
He's a Poke guy.
I was like, all right. So I turned around and then like booked it home because I was like, there's probably we probably have built this pool on an Indian
Just
burial
forget
ground.
about it. Just forget about it. Just forget about it.
Yeah. It was so weird.
That's terrifying, actually.
That was the soul of the damned, for sure.
I was leaning for it to be like the Dave Chappelle joke. He'd just be like, baby, get up inside. It's 3 a.m. Baby's just like, you want to buy some drugs? No.
Had he said that, I think I would have died. I'd have been like, what? No! Wait.
Out of morbid curiosity, I'd be like, what all do you got? What is this 5-year-old at 11:30 packing right now?
I got reds and blues.
Yeah.
I got
Greens, uppers, downers, spice.
So, I mean,
That stuff's expensive. That'll topple empires.
It goes back to Jesse's thing. It's like, this is turf wars, man. You know?
Yeah.
It's like they're employing the
souls of the damned.
Yeah, that was a scout, by the way. That was a scout. You just saw one. There's many more somewhere else, just waiting for.
Oh gosh, there's just a gaggle. There's just a legion of 5-year-olds giggling all at once coming at you.
They allowed you to see that one, so you wouldn't see the rest of the horde.
Next thing you know, you're gonna read a story about how some kid ate another kid's face because he was taking some kind of
that only happens
drug.
in Florida.
Yeah, that's true.
True.
All right, Josh, do you have a Pokemon Go story for us?
Just the one that I was saying at the state capitol. Like we haven't really gotten a chance to go out and do a lot. Like there's not really a lot going on here, and we don't go downtown but like once a week or so. And I'll go around and like I drive around a lot for work, and sometimes I'll check stuff for work, but I haven't had really like a fun, cool, interesting story or experience except for that one at the state capitol, where that was kind of where it really set in for me. I was like, wow, like these 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 separate people like came up to us and were talking about stuff just on a whim, and it's all because of this. Like this, I started to think about and started to kind of extrapolate what else is going on around the country and around the world and stuff. Like this has a lot of potential for like really positive stuff for people to interact and just get to know each other and kind of get to know your community and get to know where you live, especially with us being new here. Like that's pretty cool, Like otherwise, we hadn't been to the state capitol building yet, and it's like Pokemon Go got us to go to the damn state capitol building.
I'm really curious what kind of stories we'll have of relationships that have blossomed because of this. This is
romantic relationships.
A great way to meet chicks. I mean, there is probably. I mean, if I wasn't a married man and I had this in my hand, I don't know if I'd be broaching the nerd domain by going up to some chick and saying, "Hey, what'd you catch? What do you think?
Look at my Snorlax."
Gross.
As you're being hauled off in cuffs.
Can I call you Jigglypuff?
There will be somebody. There is guaranteed somebody in this world that will tell their children how they met. Their significant other by. We were playing Pokemon Go, and that's really something else.
All right, I've got 2 short ones. One was when I first started playing the game. I drove out to a local park to have lunch and just hang out and see what was out there, and because there's a couple of parks around down from me, a couple miles down. So as I was drove in this park, I was like, oh, there's 4 Pokestops in here. I'll hit each one. So not wanting to get out of my car in 99-degree weather at the moment, I was like, well, I'm just going to drive around in the air conditioning. And at that point, I stopped at one of them, and I was, doing the whole Pokestop thing. I looked up, and there were two gentlemen out in the field of the park, and it was like a soccer field. And I looked over, and they were both one was wearing a black and white flannel, and the other one was wearing a long black trench coat.
What is this, 1994?
Right. And neither one of them had looked like they'd been out of the basement since 1994. And they were just sweating buckets. But they both had this, like, crazed look in their eyes with their phones in their hand. They're like, over here, over here. And they would just run. And they would, like, this is the most physical activity they've seen in years.
Right, yeah, for the first time in their lives.
And they're like, they'd run to one spot and they'd try to catch this Pokemon, and you'd be like, I think it's going over here. And they would just run. I was having more fun watching them.
Yeah, at that point, it's a spectacle.
Yeah, and I thought to myself, though, these guys are out in the sunlight, physical activity possibly to a park that they'd never been to before. And I was like, well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's wonderral.
Maybe they'll learn not to wear a flannel and a long trench coat in the heat.
Exactly. And I'm like,
baby steps. Baby
steps, right. I mean, you can't stop the goth all at once.
And it's all because they've joined Team Stamina, and it's part of the requirements. They have to dress all in winter clothes and run around as fast as they can.
I'm glad I'm not on that team. My goodness.
Yeah, that seems counterproductive.
Dave Jeepa just tweeted us, and he said, I asked the girl what she caught. The restraining order expires in 2018. Hashtag Pokemon Go fun fact. So,
right.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. The second one was, I was in our local cell phone store.
I can wait.
And this guy came in, and he's got this big beard. He's tall, tatted up, just in a bad mood, and he's going. The next salesperson he gets a hold of, he's just going to ream him. And his wife is with him, and he's just like, and you could tell he's just always in a bad mood. And he walks up, and then I just happened to hear, and this is just the other day, I just happened to hear, well, I don't know, he's in my Pokédex, I think. And I was like, what? You're talking about your Pokédex? You don't play that game. And I looked at his phone. Dude. Yeah, and I looked at his phone. He had Pokemon Go out, and he's sitting there playing it. And I'm like, well, that's, and it spans all these different people that may or may not be a fan or whatever, and they just got into it because it's a fun game. It gets you outside, and or it's the whole, I got it, like Stephen Marsh. He wants to catch all of, he wants to fill his Pokédex. It could be that. It could be the fact that you want to beat your friend. It could be the fact that it gets you outside for the first time since 1994.
And I think it's really cool though, because it's something that like it's multi-generational, right?
Absolutely.
Like Jesse was saying, like they went on his walk. I'm sure his kids were probably playing, or his wife was playing. They were all playing. Like you can see families walking around and playing and stuff. It gives them an extra impetus to get their kids to go out on a walk with them and stuff, that's cool, though.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember a good friend of mine, before I moved to North Carolina, I was hanging out with him and his family. Every day, his kids would come home. He worked out of home, and his boys would come home from school. And before they did anything, they would do their homework or whatever, he would take them out on a walk. And they would walk around the neighborhood, and they would like, like one of them was kicking a can when I was with them one day. They're like, hey, come for a walk with us. And I was like, okay, because I was hanging out with him that day. And they were just doing it, and he would just ask them about their day. He's like, how was school? What'd you do? What'd you learn? This person was giving me trouble. Well, you know how to handle a bully, son. I've told you, told you this, blah, blah, blah. Tell your teacher, or how's your teacher doing? Oh, the teacher's great, da, 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 da. And I was like, this is wonderful. I mean, he's just walking with them, talking about their day and everything. And then when they get back, boom, he's like, Dad, can we play Xbox? Absolutely. Your homework's done. You got some exercise. We talked. Go play Xbox. Go have some fun. We'll have dinner in a little bit. And I was thinking, I was telling somebody about that, and that was such a foreign concept to them. You mean they went on a walk? Yeah, dude. Yeah. People actually walk, and they talk to each other. And, I mean, I think about Jesse, taking his kids out for a walk. I'm sure you talk to him the entire time. and you find out about their days and things that are going on with them, or even you talk to them about the game and you have something in common with them. So same thing with
my kids. Absolutely abhorred the fact that their parents were walking around with phones playing a game. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. I could not talk my kids. Here's the thing.
Or you torture them with that.
Exactly.
And that's fun too. They wanted to play it first, and then my 11-year-old daughter became a teenager all of a sudden and didn't want anything to do with her parents in any way, shape, or form.
They found out you were playing it and be like, this game sucks.
And then Caleb, getting Caleb away from YouTube is just torture anyway. So, and that might be another factor that kind of sneaks in there to try and make me not enjoy the game as much because, I don't have the luxury of being able to just go myself. Me and my wife actually had to work on alternating shifts where I'd be like, hey, you want to go down to the park and walk, and then I'll go. That way we don't have to worry about bugging the kids with it. I love my kids. Don't get me wrong. I'll talk to them, about their day and all that stuff, but
yeah, absolutely.
Getting them outside and doing something, it can be pretty tough. But regardless, I think I had one of my favorite days this summer was going out playing Pokemon and letting Kira just take over the phone. Hey, catch whatever you can, and then she had a great time walking. I just kind of sat there and
free labor for you.
There you go. But I would love to also tell you that looking at my health stats on my phone, I'm looking at my steps.
Yeah.
Dramatically increased compared to what I'm used to, compared to what I've used to do. So I thought I'd get that in there. Go ahead.
That's also why you have Colton. How old is he now?
He is 2.
And you just strap him in the stroller. You're like, son, you're coming with me.
Here we go.
And that's
I don't want to. You can't tell me that.
I'll put on Spotify and play like a bunch of 8-bit chip tunes and stuff while I'm walking and playing at the same time. And then if anybody gives me crap, I'll just be like, hey, I gotta play some music for him to go on walks so he can, so he don't freak out.
It helps the baby. Yeah,
that's exactly right.
The baby.
That's it. Well, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up now, and I want to thank each of you for contributing and keep on playing until the game shuts down. Thank Dave G Pie for interacting with us tonight.
Thanks,
you're awesome, dude. And Stephen Marsh.
Yes.
Tell us what's going on in your life, man. Where we can find you, what you're doing, all that good stuff.
I'm on Twitter at Stephen R. Marsh. As far as what I'm doing, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. The figure forecast shut down, so Fridays are open now for the while.
Yeah.
Sad stuff.
They took on a Brock Lesnar schedule.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Meaning
they don't gash anybody's head.
3 times a year, and you screw it up every time you do it.
Brock Lesnar. Well, you said that I didn't. Brock Lesnar's schedule means that Brock Lesnar works when Brock Lesnar wants to.
I see.
Their Brock Lesnar schedule means that they work when they do the podcast whenever they can get together.
Yeah.
So Stephen R. Marsh is always is and always will be a part of the Screaming Boy family. So you always have you're welcome on any cast you want to be on. Mr. Calandros, tell us what's going on.
I am sitting on the couch.
Sitting on the couch?
It's halftime right now. California's up 34-14.
Wow.
That's kind of. I mean, honestly, like everybody else, like I know on varying levels, but if you don't know me super well, like college football season is like a really big deal for me. Like before my wife moved, my then girlfriend, now wife, moved in with me. I had 2 things that I told her. I was like, there's a couple things we need to talk about before you move in. And I said, the first off is, I know you're big into cats. I will never live with a cat, period. And
you're a good man. You're a smart man.
And I said, the other thing is, I know that your family's not really big into sports. So, like, here's how Saturdays work in the fall for me. College game day starts at 10, and the games kick off at noon. So I'm on the couch from 10 a.m. until the Hawaii home game is off at about 1 or 2 in the morning. And she's like, okay, that's fine. That's that's no big deal. And she moved down with me in Florida at the time, like really midway through college football season, like in early November or something. And like two weeks later, she was like, you weren't joking about this Saturday stuff, huh? And I was like, I didn't bring it up as a fun thing to joke about. Like, I brought it up because it's like a thing that if I'm living with someone could be a point of conflict. So I wanted to mention it. So like right now, today is kind of like a national holiday for me because the real season doesn't start till next week, but the first game is today in this really weird Australian setting. But I'm taking up my entire time with talking about college football. So I'm sorry, but anyway.
It's all right. No.
You know what? You ought to do a podcast about it sometime.
Yeah, me and Ronnie have talked about it, and like I like Teasley's good for doing it. I want to find like maybe 1 or 2 other people to do it, just so that I know Teasley's got a crazy schedule with what he does, and I travel a lot for work, so I don't want it to be just me and him, because if you're going to do a college football podcast, you have to do it weekly.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'll be able to get all together for that this season. I want to, and maybe it'll just be kind of lazy this season. But it's something I'm really passionate about and really interested in, so I want to do that. But so look out for that soon, maybe. But
might happen.
But I'm just on Twitter at Red Parallax. I don't do a lot on there. If you're jumping on at this point in time, then prepare for college football stuff, because that's probably what it's mostly going to be. Once college football season's over, it's probably mostly hockey stuff with the Chicago Blackhawks, and then anything in the middle is just me being offensive and stupid and just joking around about whatever I'm watching at the time. So that's pretty much it.
Mr. Starcher.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for bringing me on to the Screaming Boy podcast.
Absolutely.
Yet again. Loved it. Good discussion. Pokemon Go, timely discussion also. As for myself, you can follow me at Stiznarkey on Twitter. I do a show on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network called Source Material. It focuses on the comic book genre, and we talk about some of the great story arcs that have shown up in comic books and some of the not-so-great ones. Coming up here in September, we're going to be doing Alan Moore Month, which is just going to be a joy.
No, my lord.
There will be no joy.
There is no joy in Alan Moore's work.
None at all.
4 weeks straight, it's going to be Source Material and Long Road to Ruin, our flagship show that focuses on movie franchises. So we're going to do a comparison between the book and the movie. Some of Alan Moore's great works, such as Watchmen, V for Vendetta, From Hell, and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So mark your Thursdays down in September for that. And the Cheap Seats here at some point is going to be returning. We did our initial first episode, and when Teasley's schedule gets him an opening there, we're going to do another episode here pretty soon. The NFL football season has started, so we love talking about football. I know Teasley does, and I love joining in on it. And I think that's it. I don't really have a whole lot much else other than just go give the Radulich and Broadcasting Network Facebook page a like. Stay up on top of all the great podcasts that they have to offer. And thank you very much, guys. I appreciate the opportunity to come on here.
Thank you, bub. And Adam?
You can find me on Twitter, because I have reactivated not only my love professional wrestling, my Twitter account. So you can find me at Adam is a nerd, all one word. I don't have anything else that rhymes with that, but
Thank you.
Anyway, I stay pretty. I try to be active on there. Well, active is more
turd
active
rhymes,
than
by the way.
You say
It's not
Adam
just
is a turd?
Baron
Adam
von
is a turd? Yeah. So So you can find me on there. I tend to retweet some things that I find interesting, or if there's something I can retweet or I can say that makes people laugh. Or did I hear a toilet flush?
That's what I was getting ready to ask. Oh.
I sworn I had it on mute.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Every day.
A lot of beer.
Adam, you're banned from the sound effects.
Nice.
You can't ban me from a sound effects there, kiddo.
No, don't call me kiddo. Adam, finish your plugs.
No, but anyway, all seriousness, you can find me at Adam is a nerd on Twitter. I try to put some stuff up there that I find interesting and whatnot. So
It's already.
I'm reiterating, and you know what?
That was before the toilet flush.
Yeah, really. Since I was so rudely interrupted, that some people like it. Some people like it.
Oh God, no!
I wish I could have timed my toilet flush. I thought I was on mute earlier. I could have timed it better.
All right.
Oh,
As for
on to you, Ronnie.
you put your hands behind your back. On to the show. You can find the show on Twitter at ScreamingBoyPR. On Instagram, we've been pretty busy on Instagram. Actually, from my trip down to Disney, I posted a lot of stuff on there from the parks. I got to see a lot of Star Wars stuff, which absolutely made me shake with nerd glee. It was incredible. And so on Instagram, we're Screaming Boy Podcast. You can find us on Facebook if you just look up Screaming Boy Podcast. You can find us on Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, and the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. Please go on and subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating, and if you don't like us, don't rate us at all because we don't want to hear it. Tell your friends about us. The best way to, if you enjoy it and you want other people to enjoy our show, tell your friends. We're also on YouTube, Screaming Boy, which if you know that, if you're watching us right now. And we're having a blast right now with this new format. And other than that, we just thank you so much for being with us. Dave, thank you. You're awesome. And we're out.
My hip-hop will pop the shot. My hip-hop